Hello. This is day 17 of my show. Hello, I'm your host, Peter Den, and the CEO of Hey Money. Today we're going to be talking about money, and some quick math. I have my pet Piggy Bank, and he will be helping us today with first thing. I'm going to show you how to put money into a piggy bank. So I have a very nice penny from 1999, and he will go in. So try and squeeze him in. You can maybe see him. Squeeze him in, and then he goes into the black hole, and then he falls in the hole. So next is some of this, more pennies, and then more pennies, and then here's how you put $1 in. Try and squeeze it in there. And happy April Fool's Day. That was a prank. Here's my actual host, Peter Dunn.
All right, Ted. Thank you, everybody, for our April Fool's prank there. Good to be with you. Happy birthday to Ted. It's his birthday. He's 8 years old today. We are not dealing with piggy banks and math today. We are dealing with budgeting, however. All right, it's day 17. A lot is going on in our economy right now, so we need to make sure that you understand what is going on. Stock market is getting hammered today, which is not surprising. We're starting to see real numbers around the impact of COVID-19, and I anticipate the next couple weeks are going to be pretty rough news all around, medically, the stock market, and the economy. Your goal is to not let this distract you from taking care of your own personal finances, which is what we do here every day over this 30-day period. Our goals for this program are very simple. We're going to cut at least $500 of spending a month. We're going to really focus on that today. We're going to try to press reset on our financial lives so it never feels like our financial lives are happening to us, but in fact, we are dictating our decisions as opposed to, again, having them put upon us. And then finally, we're going to stop guessing. So often people just assume they're fine or assume they're not, and they're most often wrong. So you're going to know the facts about your financial life. This week we even worked on credit scores. We're working on all sorts of things so you can stop guessing and be prepared to make changes as the economy will get tougher over the next couple weeks. This is going to be a rough couple weeks, and here's why. People are unable right now to make rent payments from a business perspective. That means some of the businesses that have prevented themselves from shutting down and laying off workers are going to do so. So more people will be pulled out of the economy. Those unemployment numbers, when we see them over the next couple of weeks, they're going to be shocking. So you just need to know it's really important to buckle down and deal with your finances. If you want help from our team, we do it all the time. I promise you, Ted is not on the team, so you don't have to worry about that. He won't give you his advice that particular way. Go to callheymoney.com. My team will be glad to help you. As I was telling one of my team members today, getting help from me is like getting help from the junior varsity. Getting help from those guys and ladies, they're the varsity. They're the real pros. So go talk to them. You can use offer code CHEESE for a couple bucks off per month, which makes it about $17.99 to get help from financial experts. Today, we're focusing on budget targets. This is going to be a very short lesson today, but I need you to understand the importance of it through and through. Yesterday, we took a look at building your first budget in a spreadsheet. And so now that you've done that, you need to know how to change some of your spending habits. There are three primary areas which are going to require your attention. The first is discretionary spending. All right. So anytime you say discretionary spending, think variable spending or non-fixed. Fixed spending would be things like your car payment, car insurance, electric bill, house payment, rent, anything that's a relatively fixed amount and you have to have that expense every single month, which can be a little tricky sometimes because obviously you have groceries every month and you may even have dining out every month. But you can control the level of your purchases there. So discretionary is really, it's left to your discretion. We're trying to change spending as it relates to groceries, as it relates to dining out, as it relates to even things like shopping on Amazon or going to Target or going to Walmart. Whatever your problem areas are, whatever your stores are, we're going to dig deep into that. So as we look at some of the discretionary areas, that's easy to say. Say with me, discretionary areas. As we look at some of the discretionary areas of your life, like we just said, it's anything that you can control the spending. Anything that you can go without in the course of a month and you don't get in trouble. You can't go without paying your electrical bill or you will be in trouble. You can go without going to Walmart in a particular month, especially if your addiction is to go there and constantly spend money. So when we dig into your budget, which we're going to pull up another spreadsheet budget here in just a second, you're going to see exactly what it is to understand these areas. The goal is to reduce every one of these areas that you have a problem with by 10%. And then you're going to divide by 4. We'll get there in a second. The second area, like I just mentioned, is you have a problem with stores. I used to have a client back in the day whose main problem was CVS. They used to go to CVS every single day, spend like $1,200 a month. So we want to make sure that we account for that, and that if that is one of your problem areas, we can not only decrease the frequency of which you go, but how much you spend when you go. And again, finally, something like problem areas. Now, this sounds a little crazy here, and this is going to sound really insensitive, but sometimes people have problem areas like their pets or their kids, and they constantly just spend money on them. Even grandparents really struggle with that, over gifting. And you do it out of love, you do it out of your interest in your pets or your kids or both, but it doesn't necessarily make it smart. If you have an area in your life like that where you're constantly putting money into it, even a hobby, I like to fish. Fishing is a hobby of mine, and it's really easy to constantly pump money into fishing because I lose a lot of lures because I'm a bad fisherman. Things like golf too. If people are into golf or any sort of hobby like that. So let's dig down deep into the budget to see how we're going to accomplish this. All right, everybody, stand still, stand by. Here we go. All right, so this is our budget from yesterday. You'll recognize some of the numbers we put in, and we're going to focus on these 3 categories today. Let me blow it up for you here so you can see it a little bit better. All right, we're working on these 3 areas today. Even move there we go, so we can see it. All right, let's say that you spend about $450 a month on dining out. And by the way, if that sounds crazy to you one way or the other, it's okay. I'm just giving you an example. So that is to suggest you spend roughly $112.50 a week, I should say, on dining out. If you spend $450 a month, that means you spend $112.50 a week. As we talked about earlier, when it comes to dealing with problem areas, what you should always do is once you reduce and set a new goal, like we're about to do here, then you need to set a weekly budget for us. Okay, so our goal is to reduce this by 10% for the next month. 10% of $450 is $45. So that's to suggest that our new goal is $405 will be our spending target, our budget target for dining out in the next month. As you know, right now, it's ridiculous to even consider dining out because you can't go out. This example is better served once the economy opens back up. So to spend $101.25 a month is what you get you to the $405 budget target for the month. Okay, so $101.25 per week is the new budget target. You used to spend $112 per week. That is to suggest you're trying to reduce your spending in this category by only $11 a week. What does that mean to you? It means, you could arguably not go have an appetizer when you go out to eat, or it means you skip dessert. We could all afford to do that. Maybe it's one less bottle of wine. Maybe it's one less six-pack a week. That's the impact of trying to make changes per week. Let's go to Target. It's a little different example here. Target's one of those stores, and Walmart or one of those stores, pick your poison, Meijer, everyone's got one, that once you're in it, you got a cart, you're pushing it around, you just start throwing stuff into it. So you've got to not only reduce it by 10%, so in this case, you would be reducing it by $53.40. But what you're also trying to do is account for how many times you actually go to that store a week. If you go to Target twice a week, and you always are going to go, and you can't change that because those are your habits, by all means, break this down, the new number. So it's going to be, actually, here, I'll do it for us. It's fun when a guy does math on the internet. Boy, that was fun. All right, so what did I say? $535 times 90%. There we go. $481 is your new price target. So that breaks down to $120 a week. If you go twice a week, then you divide by 2 because you go twice a week. That's $60 a trip. You can never spend more than $60 a trip. Does that make sense? Maybe. All right, let's look at Amazon. Amazon's a tricky one because you can literally pull up Amazon on your phone or your computer 10 times a day. It wasn't but last week that our household made 3 separate purchases on Amazon over the course of one day. They were small, and we obviously weren't very organized when we made those purchases, but it's not uncommon on a website like this. This is why I have the 3 different types. Dining out is really about dining habits. Target is about, geographically, you go to a store, you physically go to this store and you form habits. Amazon's a little different from that because you can literally do it at any time. So to try to reduce your spending on Amazon, you're going to have to reduce it by, again, always start by reducing it by 10%. So you're looking at $320 some dollars is what the new goal is for the month. And then at that point in time, you have to divide by the number of times you actually buy something on Amazon over the course of a month. I know it sounds tricky, but you can't just simply reduce your spending by one. Anybody's going, I want to reduce my spending, so therefore I'm going to reduce my spending. You have to give yourself a strategic plan, and it comes with reducing everything by 10% initially, and then after that 10% time frame is up, you have to then divide by the frequency of which you go to that place. I know this is as confusing as anything we've done in the previous 17 days, but this is the most effective way to reduce your spending and to have it stick. You can go cold turkey and just stop going to Target and stop getting on Amazon and stop going out to eat, but it won't last. It's the equivalent of a really bad diet regimen, okay? So you need to have the healthy breakdown and the strategy by reducing the number of times you go and reducing the number of times you spend money when you go. I've confused everyone today. That's all we're doing today. That is literally all we're doing today. You're thinking, wow, that was an effective 14 minutes. I don't know if it was or not. We're going lighter today. Tomorrow, we are digging deeper into budget week. We got a couple days left. Then we got the weekend, and we've only got 13 days left in this program, and we still got a lot of big stuff to hit. We have insurance week. We have benefits week. We're going to do a little bit on investing, and we also got to hit major purchases, like what to do if you figure out that you have too much house. What do you do to solve your financial problems when the problem itself is how much you're spending on housing or a car? Like, how do you get out of that jam? That is still to come. If you have questions, please let my team help you. Go to callheymoney.com, use offer code CHEESE, and you'll get 10% off. It's April Fool's Day. It's Ted's birthday. I'm going to go hang out with him the rest of the day. Thanks for joining us here today on the show. We're going to get through this together. All right. I will see you tomorrow.